All right, so this is the process for creating my virtual instrument. So for example, if I go to my motive, one thing I would do is I would probably sample. So I would sample the motive XF. I've already have a few sounds that are already sampled from this instrument. And what I would do is I would sample them using the audio interface going from my computer. And for software, I would use PreSonus Studio One in order to do the sampling. This is the synth engine that I'm using. So I'm using Mace Sampler to do all of the importing of sounds. So if I go into the editor here, so this is my new synthesizer that I'm working on. This is Saturn V, Runo Saturn V. And basically what I did here was I pretty much imported, I re-imported all the knobs, all the faders from Gem Club Equinox because, I mean, those already work, so we might as well reuse them. And the entire idea behind these VSTs is that you have to take advantage of every single limitation that the synth engine offers. So yeah, you can see this is pretty much the extent of how far you can go as far as Mace Sampler is concerned. However, we do have something that we're currently working on, which we can't really reveal much as it's still in development, but all we could say is that it has something to do with Ring's VS1. So yeah, every sound is imported, so we create a new group, we import the sample, and I've already gone ahead and started sampling these sounds, so I'm just gonna continue the importation. I'm just gonna continue importing the sounds here, so and it's always best to check manual select by user, so that way when you open the bank it will never select that sound in question. Because the problem is if you put it at always selected, what's going to happen is that when you open up the bank, it's going to load that specific sound by default. So yeah, I know these knobs work. Mind you, I've used these knobs previously in Gem Club Equinox. So basically the entire idea is to basically use the exact same knobs that previously worked in the last version, which is version 1.5. That being version 1.5 of Gem Club Equinox. And basically everything is still pretty much the same. The only difference is the layout is completely different. But basically we still have ADSR, except we have the cutoff in the ADSR, amplitude up and down. We have the LFO rate. We have the same three knobs and the same button for the distortion, the chorus, the delay, the reverb. Pitch and modulation is still the same. Tuning is all in one separate area. Master has the gain and the pan. And of course, you got your sound selection and your bank selection, along with the navigation arrows. So yeah, the only big difference, of course, and of course, then you got your info button so you could visit the website. And then you got your modes here. So single mode is basically what you're going to be playing throughout the entire duration of Saturn V. And I'll keep you posted on what happens with Ring's VS1. So I think the biggest problem with VSTs is the fact that you have a synth engine that has limitations. I mean, mind you, this is not the first time that I was working on Saturn V. This is actually my third attempt to create Saturn V. The first time I was working with a different synth engine. I was actually working with the Synth Edit, which had oscillators, LFOs, amplitudes, and the fact that you had 5. But unfortunately, when I ran it into Studio One, it was a nightmare. Like literally, it was a nightmare. It would not load the sounds completely, and even the latency was awful. But the worst part about it was also the signal path. Like it distorted the whole instrument. So attempt number 2, I had to actually tone down the oscillator to just 1. But even then, I mean, even if I did so, it wouldn't have been enough. So unfortunately, it can be frustrating sometimes when you have to work with a synth engine that has limitations. And it's kind of like Eric Persing when he started doing the sampling techniques for all those synthesizers before he got started with UVI and then Spectrasonics. He had to work with the Akai samplers, which was pretty much the extent of what you can do sample wise when it comes to importing samples to, Kurzweil and all those sampling keyboards. And unfortunately, it was frustrating for him. And you know what? I feel the same way when you're working with a synthesizer with a synth engine that has very, very strict limitations. I mean, like I said, Maze Sampler, you're looking at this user interface. This is pretty much the extent of how far you can go as far as Maze Sampler is concerned. I mean, mind you, as I said, all of these knobs work. The problem is I can't put any more knobs because I've tried every single knob after that and they just would not work. So unfortunately, yeah, that is unfortunately a big drawback. And again, version 2 is in the works, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that version 2 will be a lot better compared to the current version that we have. So yeah. I'm going to keep you guys posted and we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is my official first entry of the vlog for Saturn V. But yeah, it's funny that in high school, I've always had this dream that if I can't go into the music business, I still want to be part of the community. So I started thinking in high school that maybe one day I wanted to become sound engineer. But when I started looking into VSTs and how to create, synthesizers, plugins, and all those things, I actually found out that that was actually supposed to be the case. That once you start finishing up your synthesizers, you actually had to start learning sound design so that you can actually start making your own synth sounds and everything that goes with it. I mean, mind you, Saturn V does have its own proprietary sound bank, which we call Runo. You have at least 100 sounds on board, in addition to the sounds that have been sampled and modeled from various different instruments. I mean, the great thing about Saturn V is, unlike Gem Club Equinox, Saturn V is more open to multiple keyboard brands. So at the end of the day, there's no limit to how many sounds you can discover just from one instrument. And you know what? That's the great thing about Saturn V, is that even though you're working with a synthesizer that has very restrictive limitations, at least the sounds are not out of bounds, Hey guys, how's it going? Francesco Blenier here. Okay, I got an update. This is entry number 2 of my Runo Saturn V vlog. And apparently from all the information that has been gathered recently and all the developments that have been done also during the last 2 months, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to announce that Runo Saturn V is now considered the flagship. Everybody thought Gem Equinox was the flagship with over 2,000 sounds and all those amazing controls and everything. No. Saturn V has just surpassed 7 gigabytes, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger from there. So yeah, I have still a lot of synth models that need to be integrated into Saturn V. And it's just growing and growing exponentially. So we've already sampled all those models from different companies. And like I said previously, the Saturn V ecosystem is more open compared to Gem Club Equinox, whereas Gem Club Equinox was more brand focused. Saturn V is more open as far as sounds are concerned. We've also went ahead and started expanding the original sound libraries. So Runo Saturn V's proprietary sound library has been expanded. The same goes for a couple of other sounds that we started. So as of now, the library stands at 7.8 gigs and counting. So for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to continue integrating more banks. And again, all I'm going to say is that right now, Saturn V is considered the flagship, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger from here on in. So one more thing, I also did a change to the layout. So the user interface has been changed, making it somewhat similar, almost the same size as Gem Club Equinox, but I mean, at the end of the day, the UI is still true to the original prototype that was worked on a few years ago with Synthedit. I mean, thank goodness I abandoned that project because I was able to basically transfer all the sounds from Synthedit into Maze Sampler, so now everything is fully functional and we have lots more sounds to play with. So yeah, gonna keep you guys posted. Stay tuned. Hey guys, how's it going? Francisco Bologna. I'm here at RUNOTechnologies, and we have an update for you guys regarding our new project, Saturn V. So first things first, if you should know, as you can actually see, we've done a UI change. So yeah, as you can see, the UI has been redesigned to make it look similar to our previous instrument, Gem Club Equinox. So the good news about this new user interface is the fact that we can actually see the planet Saturn more clearly. And of course, we got all the same controls from Gem Club Equinox as per usual. In addition, the sound bank has just been expanded. So we have all kinds of new synth models, and we're just expanding them exponentially, ladies and gentlemen. As of now, the sound bank sits at 9.8 gigabytes, which is twice as much as Gem Club Equinox. And again, it's only going to get bigger and bigger from here because we have a lot more synth samples to integrate from our synth models. So yeah, Saturn V is the big one, ladies and gentlemen. Saturn V is officially our flagship. In addition, we still have a lot of work to implement regarding our new project here, which is Rings VS1. I'm not really going to tell you exactly what it is, but I'm going to give you a hint. If you go into the Gem Club Equinox video and you see the part where it says grooves, you might have a clear understanding of what Rings VS1 might be. Yeah, basically with this UI, I basically integrated everything from Gem Club Equinox. And you know what? Unlike Gem Club Equinox, I think I'm probably going to release this one as a version 1.0. Because, mind you, I mean, I've done Gem Club Equinox version 1.7. That was the final version of version 1 for Gem Club Equinox. And I might have to do the same for Runo Saturn because it has exactly the same features, exactly the same interface. The only difference is the layout is completely different. And, of course, we got our secret project, which is Rings VS1. I think we're just going to release it as a version 1.0 and then wait for version 2 because right now, as far as I'm aware, Creator, which is the new synth engine, that's what it's called, ladies and gentlemen, Creator with an R, that synth engine is currently in the works. So the good news is we finally have a name for it. And this is the synth engine that's going to be replacing MazeSoft. So yes, it's going to be replacing it, and it's going to be the synth engine that runs both Gem Club Equinox version 2 as well as Runo Saturn V version 2. So yeah, that's going to be my big update. And now I know what you guys are probably wondering. What does Saturn V sound like? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to give you a preview. And you honestly thought I was going to play you a preset sound from Runo Saturn V. Alright, I'm just trolling with you. No, but seriously, this is what Saturn V sounds like. Hey guys, how's it going? Francisco Bologna here. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 3 of the vlog for Saturn V. And ladies and gentlemen, have we got an update for you? So it's just a little quick background of, how things are going on nowadays with the development of Runo Saturn V. So basically, we've got the oxygen 49, and from now on we're going to be running in the synth engine off the oxygen now. So yeah, we've got 9 faders here. We got the drum pads, and to prove that everything works, I'm just gonna turn this on. So immediately the drum pads work. If I move the sliders and knobs here, same goes for the pitch and modulation. We can change our octaves, and of course we can assign these buttons here, so they could be any of the buttons in either Gem Club Equinox or Saturn V. And yeah, this thing is a beast. I mean, it's very reliable. It really is a keyboard worth looking into. And the great thing is I pretty much got it as a replacement for one of my other boards. I mean, you saw the last video, the introduction video with Gem Club Equinox. Unfortunately, that board became defective, so I had to pick up another one. So yeah, that thing is going to be history in a few weeks from now. But anyway, the good news is that we have a MIDI controller that actually works, and at least it's a MIDI controller that is reliable, unlike the previous one. And unlike the other workstation, at least now I have 49 keys as opposed to 37. Another thing I should mention is that, well, big news, we are 5 banks away from completing the main library for Saturn V. So that's good news. The bad news, though, is that I'm going to need another month, because then we're going to have to start working on the next part of Runo Saturn V, and that is Rings VS1. So, yeah, that's going to be big news. And on top of that, as you just saw from the beginning of this video, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Saturn V, just like Gem Equinox, has also been mounted onto USB. As of now, the sound library, you're not going to believe this, stands at 17.8 gigabytes, which is much more than Gem Club Equinox. And again, because of these 5 libraries that are going to be added, it's only going to get bigger and bigger. So I think, I mean, if you compare it to Omnisphere was like 60 gigs. So I'm thinking my best guess is that Saturn V is probably going to be half of that. So yeah, and I cannot wait to share more information with you guys. But yeah, what you just heard was basically a preview of a new sound that's in Saturn V. And the way I'm thinking about going with this VST, I'm thinking about leaning it more towards Access Virus, since now there are EDM sounds, and a lot of them, inside the synth, unlike Gem Club Equinox, which is more, as I said, brand exclusive and brand focused. Saturn V is more EDM based, so hopefully a lot of dance producers will feel at home with Saturn V. But then again, I mean, it's a 17.8 gigabyte sound library, so there's probably something for everybody. Anyway, I'm going to keep you guys posted, and yeah, stay tuned. Okay, so this is Rings VS1, and this is how it works. So right here we have our 2 modes here. We got single mode, and then we got Rings VS1. Obviously, if you go into the banks here, you can see These are the standard banks. Now keep in mind that the Rings VS1 is not loaded into ROM. So what you would have to do is you would have to go to this section right here, which is basically the flash to ROM section. And you could choose either between your single sounds or your Rings VS1. In this case, I want to choose Rings VS1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the folder where I have my Runo Saturn instrument. And I'm going to select it right here. There it is, Rings VS1. And it's going to flash to ROM. So basically, it's going to override the presets that are currently in the mix. And then you can basically pick your sound. I think I'm going to go for one of my favorites, which is Harmonia right here. Okay, so what exactly is Rings VS1? Well, first things first, if we actually go to the preset of Harmonia, we can actually see this is what we are dealing with. So as you could see, Rings VS1 is basically a collection of 5 sounds stacked on top of each other, and they could be layered. So as you can see right here, the very first partial is Saturn Princess. So this is a brand new patch that has been added to the Runo bank. Basically, it's pretty much a woman singing in C key. If you read the instruction manual, there's actually a story that explains how a instrumentalist managed to restore the voice of the Saturn Princess. And Saturn Princess right here is the first patch. So then we have Saturn Real Unison. This is also from Runo's proprietary sound bank. Then we got Zen Saturn Bells from the Roland sound bank. Beauty Keys from Korg, and Wind FX from Ensoniq. So yeah, basically we have up to 3 banks all hosting these 5 sounds. So yeah, every single sound is scattered across the keyboard, and you can access them simply by pressing Rings VS1. Now if you want to go back to the standard sound banks, all you got to do is 2 things. Either one, you can click single, and then you just load back your preset bank back to default. And here we go, Runo Saturn, and then you pick your bank from here. Or probably the easiest way would be to go to bank, select your sound, and then you're back to the single sounds again. And if, for example, if I go to my Runo sound bank and I flash to ROM Rings VS1, as of now we have 28 patches and counting. So yeah, keep in mind that every single patch here has 5 sounds stacked on top of each other, hence the name of the instrument, Saturn V. And with that, I'm going to keep you guys posted as the updates continue. Hey guys, how's it going? Francesco Bellini here. Have I got something special to share with you guys? Something that's probably going to blow you away. Okay, so this right here is new. This is my mobile set. As you can see, I got nano control, nano pad. The only thing that's missing now is the nano key, which is supposed to be arriving tomorrow. But basically, this mobile setup basically means I could take these MIDI controllers with me everywhere I go. I don't ever have to lug a big keyboard. And as you can see from the laptop, that's right, I am running Saturn V, which also means that I can also run Gem Club Equinox. Now take a look at this. This is actually pretty cool. Right now I'm running Savvy Host, and if I go into, where's my mouse here? So here, if I go MIDI to parameter, I click, and I've already gone ahead and started mapping everything. So you can actually see what you would do is you would click the bottom arrow, set it to learn, and then you would basically touch any of these controls, whether it be a fader, a button, or a knob. And then what you would do is right here where it says parameter, you would click the up button until you find out exactly which control you want to use. So in this case, the first parameter is the gain knob, which technically acts as the volume. So if I move this controller right here, as you can actually see, that's right, I am now controlling Saturn V using MIDI control. It's funny that only now I just started discovering this. And apparently it can be done with other DAWs. The only thing is with the other DAWs, you need to configure those manually. But the fact that we managed to have all of these controls active, I mean, it goes to show that the whole system works. I mean, right now, if I go to this button right here, which is the S. So if I press this button, basically it's turning on the reverb. And then I can start adjusting the parameters using these faders right here. So yeah, all of these controls do work. You don't really need the editor to do the editing. The only thing you have to do is for the enable buttons like reverb enable, the chorus, the delay, as well as the distortion, you got to set those to toggle. Because if you don't, then obviously it's basically going to act like this. So it's just going to stay on for as long as you hold the button. And the craziest thing about this entire setup is the fact it's running a Celeron processor, which also means congratulations. We have just tested Saturn V in probably the weakest setup that you could possibly have, and yet even with the weakest specs imaginable, this system still works. I mean, mind you, I'm just gonna press a couple of keys here and check this out, guys. Gonna turn on reverb here, and now I'm just gonna throw in a couple of sounds. So yeah, even with the weakest computer, you could still get Saturn V and Gem Club Equinox to work perfectly. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, as you can now see, this is the full setup right here. So we got the keys, we got the pads, and now we got the nano control all together. All of them are running Saturn V. So basically we've got the keys to play the keyboard, we got pads for drums, and then we got the controllers for basically the knobs and the buttons that are on the synth. So everything finally works, and yeah, now we can finally use this entire setup for mobile development. So if I play these keys here, so yeah, the keys work, the octave buttons work, and yeah, if I go into a different sound over here, I'm just gonna pick a different bank. I think I'm gonna go for, I don't know, probably let's go Runo. And I think I'm gonna pick SF1. So SF1, I've got it mapped to the nano pad, so got birds chirping. So yeah, everything as you can see here is fully functional. I'm just gonna plug in my USB right here, and then I'm gonna just jump into the synth engine. So this is the crazy thing about all this. And check this out, guys. As you can actually see, ladies and gentlemen, I've got Saturn V, the synth engine, fully functional. And the best part about this entire setup is the fact that I could take this on the go. Pretty sweet, isn't it? And yeah, I just configured the nano key to work with the synth engine, and now when I press the keys, you can actually see keys are now fully responsive to the synth engine. So yeah, this is by far the best compact mobile setup that you can have for plugin development. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the final entry of the vlog. So basically what we've done to prepare for the launch of Saturn V is, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone ahead and also made a module version for those who don't want to use virtual keyboard. So yeah, just like Gem Club Equinox, Saturn V will be offered either as standalone or as a module version. Either way, you could still be able to play the same sounds, use the same banks. The only difference is you need a MIDI controller for this one. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the vlog for Runo Saturn V. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for launch, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.